Okay, so I hate to do this on the very, very first episode, but here's a little note about the episode. Had a bit of a technical difficulty. You're going to notice a lot of pops as I talk. That was my fault. So I didn't want to re record it. I felt like this was the strongest take that I've done. So I know what the problem is. It'll be fixed by the next episode. So if that bugs you, and it would bug the hell out of me, you can skip on to number two whenever it comes out in a couple weeks. Again, sorry for the clicks. Welcome to the Trouble Understanding podcast. That song was called Trouble Understanding. I don't know who the artist is anymore. I used to, back in the old MySpace days. It's when I found the track and spoke with the artist and was supposed to use it in one of my movies, Garage Fever, but it never came out. Maybe I should dig through some paperwork. Maybe I can find some clues there if I can find the paperwork. Anyway, I have always really loved that song, and I thought it was perfectly fitting here. So, hopefully, unless he comes through and says, "Hey, your podcast is bullshit. Get my art off of it," then I'll remove it. Otherwise, for now, it's going to be my theme song, I guess. Welcome to the Trouble Understanding podcast. I'm Joe Francis. This is the first episode. I'm recording this in my dining room, so there is a chance that you may hear a cat or a dog, maybe even a doorbell. But we're going to ignore those the best we can. Okay, so in my notes here, I did write that I wouldn't say any jokes. So I think I stuck by that. So I want to kind of hit the ground running with this and start it off by talking about suicide prevention lines. I think that, well, they're well-intentioned, they're bullshit. I think that anybody that is going to commit suicide isn't going to call a helpline. I think if somebody is seriously considering it, I hate to even say seriously considering it, because it seems like if they are considering it, their mind is made up and they're going through with it. As sad as that is, I mean, I think the best thing that you could possibly do for somebody in that situation, and this is of course assuming that you're within reaching distance of them. There's so many relationships online these days, it is hard. So it's probably easier to rely on a mediator like a prevention line. But I say this a lot. I type it a lot. It's just how I feel, for me personally, a hug means everything. Just to hold somebody for a couple of seconds whenever they're feeling their worst. It means everything. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and do a little bit more introduction on what this show is, what I want it to be. I am not a professional. I'm just a guy that lives with a brain that does weird stuff, that makes me feel weird things, that makes me sad, that makes me think about suicide, that makes me want to not continue. Luckily, I have beings in my life, children, that help me work through that, or at least because of their existence makes me not want to do that, or their fear of finding my body. Also, I'm going to be extremely candid, extremely honest. I'm not going to hold anything back. I think that if you're going to succeed in anything, any kind of artistic endeavor, any kind of project that requires an audience, someone that is going to tell you you're full of shit or you're doing a good job, you have to be extremely honest. You have to be extremely candid. You can't hold anything back. You have to just lay it all on the table. So, there it is. That's what I plan on doing with this. If you want to contribute anything to this, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to set up an email. I'll add the email address in at the end. You can contact me. We can do a phone, or you can actually come down to the house and we can record a podcast together. You can tell your tale. My goal with that is mainly to let other people know that they're not alone. Because as unique and isolated as you may feel, or feel that your problem is, it's not. You're not. There's somebody else that's not going through the same exact thing. It's always been a pet peeve of mine. I know what you're going through, bro. I was there. It's bullshit. You were never there. We're all different. We all experience and feel different. But a lot of us have very like-minded thoughts, actions, that kind of thing. So maybe there's something that you're embarrassed that you do whenever you're down, or you think that you're the only person that has 4 kids and a loving husband, but you constantly think about suicide or hurting yourself or hurting someone around you that you honestly do love. I want you to reach out to me, and we can make it anonymous, or you can shout your name. It makes no difference to me. My goal is to bring as many of our problems, and our problems, I mean us, the large percentage of the world's population that has some kind of mental illness, just a funky way of thinking. Bring those to the surface so we can come together and know that we're not alone. I think that's my ultimate goal with this. I can sit here and talk all day and talk about my issues. I think the only way that it's going to accomplish anything is that if we all talk together. So at the end of the show, I will have an email address. Feel free to email me, and we can go from there. Like I said, anonymous or not, it doesn't matter. Let's talk. Even if you just want to write me and you want to tell me your problems, you don't want me to say anything about it on a show, that's fine too. Totally respect that. And I have no problem talking to anybody. I want to help. I want to be here for other people. Just as much as I want people to be there for me. Because I go through my fair share. And there's going to be some days that I will probably record and it will be a real downer. I might be in a funky mood or something. Luckily today, I just took a shower. So I'm feeling clean and good. But there might be a day that it just doesn't start right. You wake up and you're already hurting. Thinking to yourself, why? Why am I doing this again? That's definitely something that puts me in a panic occasionally. Is thinking tomorrow I have to do the exact same thing again. And there's no end. Unless I make it. And we can't think like that, can we? We have to be happy. We have to make sure that we make the most of our time here. Not waste it. So, the next topic that I have on my little note sheet here, trying to be slightly professional with that. Jim Carrey. Been a fan of his for a long time. He has been very much on the forefront of, well, lately, positivity and, just killing his depression. Jim Carrey explains depression in the best way I've ever heard. He's quite the person nowadays, isn't he? If you don't know, he subscribes to a lot of different ideas right now. He had some interesting thoughts on depression. I want to share some of those. In an interview, he said, "At this point, I don't have depression. There's not an experience of depression. I've had that for years, but now, when the rain comes, it rains, but it doesn't stay. It doesn't stay long enough to immerse me and drown me anymore." I'm kind of confused by that because when he says the rain comes, it rains, but it doesn't stay. So is he sad then happy? He's not depressed. He's just sad and happy. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I was thinking if he had that depression, then goes to happiness, and depression again. I could understand that because that's how I operate a lot of the time. Which could be bipolar. I don't know. I haven't been diagnosed bipolar, but sometimes I feel as if the way that I operate is how it's described. Okay, here's another quote that I thought was really interesting. Jim Carrey says, "People talk about depression all the time. The difference between depression and sadness is just from happenstance. Whatever happened or didn't happen for you, or grief, or whatever it is. Depression is your body saying, fuck you. I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me." That's pretty spot on, I think. It makes a lot of sense. Another one that at first I thought was kind of silly, but now it makes a lot of sense too. Carrie says, "You should think of the word depressed as deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character you've been trying to play. I have no depression in my life whatsoever, literally none. I have sadness and joy and elation and satisfaction and gratitude beyond belief. But all of it is weather, and it just spins around the planet. It doesn't sit on me long enough to kill me. It's just ideas." It'd be nice to be able to have that kind of outlook on it. Because you can read these all day. You can read the quotes, what people have to say all day. And until it clicks with you as a person, it doesn't do anything. At least that's my outlook. That's what's happened to me. I can read and appreciate someone's idea on how I can be fixed. But for some reason, if it doesn't click, There's that click, that spark. If it doesn't do that, then it doesn't help me. I still feel terrible. I still feel like I need to put myself down. I mean, that's a kicker right there. How about that? Is when you realize that you're in a funk. You realize it and you know that all it takes is to go, well, stop. There's no reason for this. I don't have a reason to feel this way. Nothing bad happened to me. I have a great life. Today has been going my way, but for some reason, some unknown fucking reason, I feel sad. I feel sad. I feel like everything is coming down on me. Everything is crushing me. You realize that, and you realize all you have to do is stop, but you can't. Not until that click happens. Well, I think that's all I've got for this very first episode. I haven't decided how long I want to make these. I think it's gonna be what it is. When I sit down and talk, I might go on for an hour. Or I might go on for 15 minutes. I'd like to do a thing where no matter what my mood is, if I feel like I need to talk, I'm going to sit down and talk. Not blog, not get all emo, but kind of get emo. Not emo, like emo, but emotional. Got to pour those emotions out. That's okay. So sometimes it might be a 10-minute podcast of me just letting it all out and saying, this is how I feel today. This is what I'm going through. And I'm feeling really alone. Maybe reach out. Some days I could go on for an hour and just be the most optimistic person in the world, ready to help, not hurting at all. Reach out then too. But I will guarantee you this, while I'm recording, while you're listening, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to put on a happy face if I don't feel it. I'm not going to mask anything. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to be completely open, completely honest for you. So if you want to be completely open and completely honest with me, that's your choice, and I welcome it. I guess that brings us to a close today. This is the Trouble Understanding podcast, and I'm closing it out with the full track, Trouble Understanding, by currently artist unknown. Hopefully I'll find that out soon. This is the full track for you to enjoy. Remember, you're loved. You are loved. You matter. And you're important. It's true.